Yeah, good evening, everyone. It's nice and warm to have you in this session. Before we begin the panel discussion, I would request Likith from our team to play the video.
Drop it. Drop it.
Thank you, Likith. This session is hosted by the Datalogics Apple Premium Partner. And before I begin, I would like to introduce myself, the moderator of the session. My name is Lakshmi Priya, an educator by choice, a passionate physics teacher, engineer by degree, and 20 years of teaching experience. So I speak the educator language, the right person to moderate the session. I have also led schools using technology and driven the direction on those lines, and also helped my school to achieve Apple Distinguished status. It's a global recognition which meets certain standards in terms of integrating technology. Now, AI being the buzzword, we thought why not connect with educators and bring the forum alive? And let's go with key takeaways after the session. So that's blowing my own trumpet, now formally getting into the session. So the title goes there, Reimagining Learning, where technology and AI meets human value. And welcome to a virtual conversation on integration of technology and AI in education. I'm thrilled to have everyone here. I literally mean it. The emotions are running high in my system. As we know, education has traditionally been standardized, teaching every student the same content, same pace, and same assessment. Not because it was the most effective way, but it's the most manageable way. But definitely, AI has disrupted that model. Today's system can personalize pacing, tailor the difficulty, give instant feedback, identify gaps, and adjust pathways, and support every student differently. This shift towards customizing learning is not a nice to have, but it's shaping the new foundation of global education today. With this paradigm shift in mind, what's the biggest barrier that is stopping schools from going all in for customized learning? Let's explore how each of us lead that change. To ease into this discussion, we would start by hearing a snapshot of your school's journey with technology so far, with your name and school's name as the overarching introduction. Let's keep it crisp and begin the conversation. Popcorn style, anyone can start the conversation.
So, good evening to everyone. Very nice to be here among this esteemed panel, and thank you, Team Datalogics, for having us here. So, well, I put my hand up first for a reason because I think around 12 years back, when iPads just came into India as complete labs and all, I think in my earlier organization, we were among the first few to start with an iPad lab in school. And I was also trained for it, and was so fascinated by the fact that what at that time it was technology and not AI, really, how we were looking at it. And I was very fascinated by how it worked for children. So at that point of time, I the thing that I understood was that we were slower at working with it than children were. So I always said swap and after working with it for some time and saying it's not working, things are not going forward, one of the things that we did was we swapped the teacher. I said, let the kids be the teacher. And that's when we saw the difference in our school and the system and the lab working and the enthusiasm. Cut to now, 12 years later, we ourselves are using AI. And therefore, in doing this, the first thing that we are looking at is establishing a human first philosophy before introducing artificial intelligence into our classrooms. I think that is something really important because the technology bit and the usage of the tools of artificial intelligence is very easy for students of today and even teachers and even us as adults. I mean, I can't tell you how convenient Chat GPT or Gemini or all these are. But I think there should be culture, clarity, and mindset before we start using the tools. And that's something that we're working with currently. So, our simple guiding principle really is that use technology to strengthen and not replace human connections. I think if you're able to understand that, because AI promises convenience, speed, instant results. And if that is happening, how do we kind of take this forward where children can also develop their internal cognitive strength, which is
True.
so important? Because speed and tools are not something that are going to guarantee success in the future. What matters more now, more than ever, are human qualities, which AI cannot replicate: intuition, ethical judgment, creativity, reflection, adaptability, even the ability to ask good questions.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, ma'am. As you rightly said, strengthening human connections. The opening of the conversation led us in the right direction. Now I would invite Miss Shija to share.
Thank you so much. First of all, thank you for having me. It's a genuine pleasure to join some known and unknown faces. It's a pleasure being on this. And Datalogics, thank you for having us. We are an IB Continuum school, and I'm a tech enthusiast myself. And I don't think I leave any stone unturned when it comes to exploring any kind of new and exciting tools and application in education. And I'm absolutely thrilled to have these kind of conversation. I'm going to leave one of the thinking that I have in broad when it comes to this context is perception of AI as a taboo rather than tool. I think we are still struggling at a stage where this is a prevalent challenge. And the perception of AI can range from being seen as futuristic, almost mythical entity to something that might replace human roles, exactly what my colleagues just said. So I believe we just do not need to enhance the usage of it, but at the same time, change the mindset from moving from the psychological barrier that prevents the exploration and adoption of all the lovely iPad applications, AI embedded tools, and so forth to just enhance the learning process. So that's all would be my opening statement for this amazing webinar that we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shija. You took the right direction on mindset, exploration, and adaptation on where we are leading towards. Now, please, the next panelists share your tech journey so far. Yes, Miss Divya. Thank you.
Hi, hello everyone. So I'm Divya, and I head a Cambridge and an IB school here in Chennai. This is Heartfulness International School. And it seems like this panel is sort of just an extension of the conversation that we've been having in schools. I'm sure there is one committee sitting somewhere in every school discussing how AI and capacity building and all of this can happen for teachers. So for us, in our context, it has, of course, we all understand that AI is here to stay, and it's the intersection of AI and human values that's going to be the future and all of. So everything must begin with the school vision and sort of culminate in what we have envisioned for our students. The other shared, yes, technology, not for the sake of tech, what skills we want them to learn. Those are the questions that we have been asking ourselves. And we've been thinking about how learning, of course, has to be altered from a content banking system to a more process oriented system. So, how can we meaningfully adopt AI and make it useful in strengthening these transferable skills? That's largely been our conversation at school.
Thank you, Ms. Divya. As you rightly said, shaping who we are with our identity is very, very crucial, and it's taking us in the right direction. Then I have Miss Stephanie who has raised her hand. Then I have Miss Vandana, then Miss Sandeepa, and Miss Debika on that line of order. And I saw Mr. Anoop's hand also going up. So please let's stick to this order. Thank you. Yes, Miss Stephanie.
Hi, so I'm at DSB School, International School in Mumbai, and we've been on the journey for a while. I think it's one of the things that we've been moving through is, first of all, learning to use AI, teachers and students, and making sure that we haven't tried every single model, but we try them and we trial them first of all. Then we've been moving this year much more towards AI for learning, which is, one of the things that we've said to our teachers is to make sure that it is the right pedagogy for that learning moment. And if AI is just a fancy way of doing it to make it have bells and whistles, then and traditional methodology such as cooperative group work would be better, then we always go with the human rather than the AI, and that's been very intentional. And then in years going forwards, then we're moving towards, as well, with some of the more advanced students and the advanced users, is leveraging AI for co-creation. And that's where my own studies are. I'm currently in the middle of a PhD looking at assessment, metacognition and AI. And I think this is when we start to use it as co-creation, that's when it starts to get incredibly exciting, and that's where we're supporting our particularly older students to be in. We basically started with what skills do we want our students to leave with? What kind of student do we want to send out into the world? And then work backwards. And this is where the exciting things are happening in universities all over the world and within India. So it's like, yes, we want to get our students to co-creation and being able to leverage the power that AI has.
Thank you. Yes, building the student as creators of knowledge. And also, these are these skills that are there in demand. So we are preparing these students for the future that's definitely unknown and uncertain. But the most powerful skill is to leverage the use of AI and also content creation. Thank you, Miss Stephanie. And Miss Sandeepa or Miss Vandana, please go ahead.
I'll go ahead. Yes. Good evening, everyone. I'm really excited because the panel looks very, very strong in terms of their experience, expertise, and exposure. I work with Pathway School Noida. It's a continuum school, and when I look at AI and technology, I feel I work with primary students, and I'm a PYP coordinator and an assistant principal in primary. My nature of my work is more around young learners, and that's the age where exploration is at the heart of the program for us. The conversations look different when we move to MYP and DPCP. But when I look at primary school, the children are right now just understanding what is AI. They're fascinated with the whole idea of it. They are getting I would say attracted and wanting to use it. However, we want to focus on developing those essential skills that they need to have in order to handle it with I would say confidence, and at the same time developing ethics. So AI literacy is what we are focusing on right now in our school in primary years. That how can I make how can we all work together in creating a community that's more AI literate, and so that we embrace it, use it like a powerful assistant, and develop those human values that are needed to go forward as children make meaning and connections in their learning. So that's where we are right now.
Thank you, Miss Vandana. And yes, exploration is the heart of PYP program, and they are definitely excited about AI. And Miss Sandeepa?
Hi everyone, I'm Sandeepa Chavan. I'm primary principal in Adani International School. I just joined the school 8 months ago and I was in Ghana before. So I can talk in two different contexts. The world is definitely moving very fast with AI and so are our students. Right now in my school, we are yet battling and debating how much is too much in to introduce AI, especially in the PYP. I'm the primary principal here, and also getting our learning community on board because there are a lot of apprehensions there with different tools and how it actually hampers the children rather than develop the skills that we are talking about, creativity, critical thinking. It actually there's a notion that if it is more of a harm than, and getting them on board is a real challenge, and that's where we are right now.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you. I really like the conversation battling how much is too much. That's never ending. We don't get to a concrete answer always. And we have Miss Debika, followed by Mr. Anu.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Devika Chatterjee. I'm the Director Principal at JBCN International School in Mumbai. And it's wonderful to hear everybody. And certain things are coming out as the big thing that all of us resonate with. Is the first one, of course, is ethical practices and ethical conversations. All of us understand that any new resource as teachers, we are super excited about it. Doesn't matter which grade we teach, there is always this great excitement about playing with. I think we are teachers because we like to play. And then when we get a new toy like AI, all of us in school are excited about that. As we play with it, we realize that our children will definitely want to do more. And therein comes in the responsibility of being the adults in the system. We need to ensure first and foremost that the privacy, the safety, and security of our learners and their families and our teachers is absolutely at the core of everything that we practice and work with, and the guidelines that we want each one of us to follow. At the moment, what we have realized is that all policies are actually at the stage of guidelines because we are modifying it. These are organic documents. With AI in the picture, we realize that all our documents have become organic documents because every time we find out something else that can go into it, it needs to be conversation, it has to be some boundary, certain things that definitely cannot happen as a school. We know that we have to put in those moral and ethical problems at the core of who we are. At the same time, there is this whole ocean of possibilities that we are very eager to explore. So I think all of us are in the same boat at the moment. We know that there is a huge amount to be explored and a lot to be learned and a lot that is changing on an everyday basis. At the same time, we are all holding on to what we hold dear, the ethical part of being human. So that's where we are, like everybody else, I think.
Lovely, ma'am. Thanks for sharing. And the excitement to play with the toy that begins with the leadership showing that it's okay to take risk. And that's really nice to begin the conversations and also holding on to what we dearly hold, the ethical practices and the policies being organic and constantly changing with the updates coming in. I think we all need to have an additional lens to look at how we modify our existing policies. And we have Mr. Anup to share his introduction and the journey.
Thank you very much, ladies. So, really happy to join this panel. Thanks to Datalogics for inviting me. Um, where I work right now, I'm working in JBC, an international school, in a different campus. Hi, Devika. Nice to meet you over there. So, I've just recently joined over here as the primary head, PYP. Been working abroad. I'm coming back to India after 24 years. So it's pretty much new over here when I'm come over. But what I can correlate about the AI systems, what we use and everything is pretty much common. It's the same enthusiasm, same curiosity where every learner brings in. And right now in our school, we are thinking about what kind of mindset we are looking out for is the right mindset. We are trying to think about the skill mindset, what skill mindset we would like to introduce in AI and also well-being. We are introducing AI and we need to think about the well-being part also, where are we becoming more a robotic or a humanoid version. How are you placing this empathy and other type of emotions, trying to build in or trying to making sure that we are just following what the machine is talking. So we need to understand both layers. So that's what we are trying to understand, trying to be with them, the learners itself, the how they will react and how they respond to certain AI responses. They can throw out questions in different search engines, but how they can correlate and work together. That's what the exploration stage is. Yes, and I agree. Everyone, whatever you have spoken, I can just nod my head at the end and say yes to everyone. Thank you.
How sweet. Thank you, Mr. Anu, for that gentle gesture that you would say yes to all. And of course, we all resonate the same thought. It is the core of the conversation that we are all agreeing on or accepting that these are the things that we have. So, going back to the context or the moderation topic, as Datalogics would have communicated to you the questions or the ideas where you would like to share the inputs. So, I would be pointing out or specifically asking some of you on these questions. And if you have anything to share and if you're not being called out, please don't hesitate, unmute and then share. This is an open conversation and love to hear everybody's views on every other question. In the best interest of time, we had limited two questions to two panelists. And to begin the conversation, you're all leaders and your decisions drive the culture of the school. So on that leadership move, I'm making this question very specific. Reflecting on your school's current use of technology and AI, please share one specific decision on the leadership action that you have taken or planning to take that prioritizes human connection while fostering innovation. So, one action on your tech policies, prioritizing human connection that fosters innovation. I would like to invite Miss Divya, principal of formerly called as Lalaji Memorial School, Chennai, to begin the leadership move conversation.
Thank you, Ms. Lakshmi. So I think we'd all agree that leadership sets the tone of the organization and the culture of how things work and how things are perceived. I think in the context of AI, all schools have a mixture of teachers who are young and raring to go, very ready to adopt AI. And we also have some of those teachers who are seasoned and who have done things their way, who for whom AI is sort of filling them with a little bit of trepidation and nervousness about whether learning is going to be dehumanized and whether they are still going to matter. So that's been a discussion for us in our core committee about how we look at AI. And I think what we felt was important was psychological safety of teachers to begin with. Students sure are already a couple of steps ahead of where teachers are, and that psychological safety perhaps begin with providing a safe space to experiment, and more importantly to make mistakes and sort of come to an open forum and discuss those mistakes and say, hey, I tried this, you know what, it did not work for me at all. So don't try this. That openness and conversation was more important. And I think as leaders, we set the context for that to happen. If we adopt a very critical eye about who's using or who's not using, how much are you using, are all your assignments coming out of generative AI, those kind of questions, alarm a lot of teachers or lead them to, sort of over rely on AI as technology. So finding this balance was about creating the space for conversation. So my conference room has this one board that is set aside for just reflections of teachers who said, I've used this and this didn't work, or our subject study group is, looking deep diving into this particular component of AI. And there's a gallery walk once a week, and people come in and see and discuss, even if it's not a whole school meeting. There are those little groups that are discussing, and that keeps the conversation alive. And I think I imagined that it was not a big shift and it was just a small step. But I think these kind of ripples are more sustainable and long lasting than something that can just be achieved with a whole school policy. So that was a revelation for me as a leader as well.
Sure, Ms. Divya, thank you. And I would request the panelists to keep it short and crisp in the best interest of time. Thank you. No apologies, ma'am. It's the heart that comes in the conversation. And I would request Ms. Deepa Bhushan, Director of CP Goenka International School, to share one action that you have taken that prioritizes human connection.
All right. So, like I spoke about earlier, human first philosophy. So, when we are looking at that, for us, where our teachers are concerned, we want them to understand that AI is a huge support tool for them. And AI will help them to reduce their routine tasks to a great extent and also support them with, where personalized learning has to take place for their students. So not only does it bring them time to kind of, do whatever tasks they normally do, save up on that, and then they can spend time within the classroom to become facilitators and also look at differentiated learning, in a larger context.
Thank you, ma'am.
Can I share something that we're doing for us
Yeah,
students?
please.
So one of the things that we're doing for our students is, instead of being consumers of content only with related to even AI, we are working towards making them creators.
Okay.
So that's a huge space that we're working in, and our focus is in that direction.
Yes, lovely. I've
Thank
got
you.
critical aspects like psychological safety, safe space of exploration, content creation. I would also invite response from Miss Stephanie, the director of DSB International School, Mumbai, on this leadership move.
Yeah, it's very similar to my esteemed colleagues. We've done exactly that. We've put it back into the hands of the teachers and created a research-focused school where every teacher is expected to take on research and take on see how it works. But then we've also flipped that into the students. So we've opened AI as a topic and across the board with parents, students and teachers. We've stopped it from being a dirty secret, and we talk about it openly. And one of the things I've got the older students in particular and the older students, they're looking at more study tools, things which them, and they also have their own study groups. At the younger end, we use it much more metacognitively, where we get them to explore the AI's production versus their production and look at the difference. And every single time, and we use it with the very youngest of students because I'm a big believer in getting AI in as soon as possible because these guys are the natives. And the little ones, they always say they like their own imperfect things rather than the perfect piece every single time. And I think that's really reassuring, when we're doing sharing assemblies for parents to hear that, yes, we do use AI, but the children are able to critically evaluate and tell us what they prefer, which has been fantastic.
Absolutely. Thank you. AI for the digital natives. is more welcoming for everybody and for the immigrants as well. Last panelist that I would like to invite on this leadership move is Miss Vandana, PYP Principal on Pathway School.
Yes, I would just, I think I'm echoing everybody's thoughts and sentiments on how we are now exploring AI and bringing it on board as leaders. I think for us at Pathways, we realized that there was this whole discussion around reducing teachers' load. There was, teachers' responsibilities are, I think, they are increasing with a lot of challenges that they face, and of course, with parents, students, their curriculum demands. Children are different these days, so that poses a different kind of a challenge, and so the to-do lists and their workload is always increasing, and so we took a conscious decision of delegating certain tasks to AI. That what is it from our routine work that can be transferred to AI without feeling any kind of guilt? Because a lot of us initially went through this whole emotion of, is it all right, is it fine, is it acceptable, and those emotions were really interesting to have conversations around, that it is all right as long as we are putting specific observations in generative AI, and then AI is generating a solid report for me, and I don't have to worry about my sentence structure, I don't have to worry about the grammar. But yes, what I'm focusing on is human connection, that I have observed every aspect of my child very, very minutely, and I'm putting in those specific observations there, and then I'm getting a report done in no time. And when teachers, I mean, all of us as a community, when we realize that it is simple, we are using it as a very powerful assistant, yet we are maintaining the sanctity of our relationship with our children. And what we are communicating to the parent is a very specific observation, and not a very beautifully generated 6-paragraph report, which actually it has everything, but it has nothing. So we wanted to do justice to what we are producing. So that was one decision that we took recently, and there was and a lot of relief was seen when the teachers received it with smiling faces. That yes, I think you're thinking for us. Yes, thank you.
So absolutely reducing teacher load, but at the same time delegating, automating certain things with authenticity. Absolutely phenomenal. This moves us to the next part of the discussion, the challenge lens, the barriers and breakthrough. Of course, we know that AI can transform the teaching learning spaces, and it also comes with a huge lot of challenge. So let's now address one honest bit. What is the one obstacle that is slowing down your tech or your AI journey? And what are you planning to mitigate that? I would like to invite Mr. Anup to share what has he done to break the challenge.
Okay. I can relate to one of the famous quote by Mr. Narayan Murthy. I believe there was a reporter who asked long time back, like, will the introduction of AI will reduce the job and all those things? There's something related to that question. And he nicely quoted that knowing AI, yes, but working with AI will not you know so you need to work with AI, understand how AI works and how AI can really work with you. That's something he wanted to highlight. He also said that AI can be a superficial name. These technologies were in different names like C, C++, and everything. So things are moving around. We are trying to adapt as per the technology and how it is. Talking about the education sector, I would say that teachers need to trust the process of AI. Need to understand how AI works and how the tools what they are using can be used in their teaching and learning process. When I say teaching and learning, it's like how they can introduce AI to the students and how they can work it out and collaborate and work with the teachers also, and learning also how they can learn and integrate with that. So I believe
If
that's
I may, sorry to interrupt, Mr. Anup, if I may intervene and ask, are you having teacher first design or training the teachers, or is there a specific onboarding on how you would help them overcome that challenge?
So that's what I'm trying to come back on that. So I'm sorry to take that much sentences on that. So yes, that's the thing, the training part I'm talking about, where teachers should be knowing some of the systems which can be utilized, which can be used for their learning process, which can be used for their teaching process also. And that's what we are trying to work it out, trying to know some of the systems which have been placed. Some can be the LMS, the learning management system, which was easily available. Some can be a new system like, if Google has introduced Nano Banana, so something which can be introduced for their teaching and for their planning also. So notebook LM, which now teachers are using it. So that's something for their planning and trying to, showcase their teaching process with different ways, because we have different kinds of learners also to understand. They are
I
great learners
agree.
who can learn through audio, visual, and something which can be written also. So on that process.
Yes. As a educator, I would also say that I've used Notebook LM to moderate some of my corrections and also give personalized feedback and also differentiate content for my learners. And thank you, Mr. Anup, on that idea. Now, I would like to invite Miss Shija, the founding head of Bliss International School, Pune, to share what did she do to overcome the challenge.
Thank you so much, Lakshmi, for the question. And thank you, Anup, for getting this thing started. It's the most vulnerable part of implementing AI, I believe. So I'm going to keep it very short and crisp, and I'm going to highlight one of the basic barrier that demands our utmost attention at this point. As we embrace the power of AI education, I think it's clear that we need to navigate the treacherous water together as educators. So one of the challenge that I would like to highlight, and I'm sure as leaders you will be able to resonate with me, is as we integrate the more AI powered tools, ensuring student data remains protected and compliant with all regulation is paramount. So to just navigate the complexities of different platforms and their data handling policies require utmost vigilance. So something that we have established and might need a little more work in it, that we have established a clear data governance policy, and we are working very closely with our IT department and also with our legal counsel to vet all the new technologies that we are rigorously identifying and then trying to use with our MYP and DP students especially. This is certainly one big challenge when it comes to data privacy. One of the other thing that we have done in this regard is having a transparent communication with parents about how their children's data is used and protected. This remains the core component of our strategy in utilizing all the AI tools.
Yeah, thank you, Miss Chisha, on that. Yes, it's very important to protect our students' privacy. Although in the physical environment, they are very safe within the complex. But how well we protect them in the digital surface, and schools and leaders thinking in that direction can act as a lighthouse for other schools, and then we share those best practices. And thank you, Ms. Shisha, on sharing those insights. The last panelist on this topic would be Ms. Sandeepa Chavan, the PYP Principal of Adani International.
Thank you, Shiza, and for this conversation. And we are doing the same here. We've got our IT department working hand in hand with our educators because our students are using AI while our teachers are just beginning to understand it. And so it's no point changing a policy when we do not have evidence or data of how well that it works or what are the challenges those tools, the children are facing with those tools. Like someone said on the social media, we are trying to build a plane when it is in movement, and
Yeah.
that is something that all educational institutions have to really think about, is that we do not have much evidence for the successes or the challenges of these tools. They are in coming in leaps and bounds, as in every day we have a new tool come up. Students know about it, and the teachers are yet struggling to understand how to navigate it. So this is a big challenge, and we've put it across as a team, not only with our IT department but also our parent body. If there is anyone who is like excelling in this field, could come over and train our teachers with this new technology, new tool, and let us work together to find the best learning experiences for our children.
Thank you, Miss Sandeepa. Even I read that conversation, flying the plane while building it. It was very insightful to read. We need to build it safely so that we can fly. Absolutely. So this puts us or helps us move towards building the plane and flying the plane, the future question, preparing the unknown. AI is evolving quickly and the future proofing is very, very solid, and we are not very sure how we are preparing our learners. So, what is the strategy that you have implemented in your school for the unpredictable AI driven future? Something that strengthens the students' readiness. And what are the future ready habits that you have for your students? I would like to invite Miss Debika Chatterjee on that question, and followed by Miss Vandana.
Hi, good evening, everyone. What an interesting discussion. And future. So, future proofing in schools is perhaps the most difficult and so very difficult to predict the future. I don't think anyone has figured that part out yet. Even the people who are the creators and generators of AI are just discovering the beginnings of this whole big journey that we have started in the last couple of years or 3 years. And already it is beyond the comprehension of most. So the one thing that we know for sure is that we can hold on to the core, and that is where our well-being policies. So in our school, we have this year-long process. We call it Swasthi. It is the mindful journey to well-being. And that is where we go back again and again. The more complex the future looks, the more incomprehensible the future looks, the more we talk about the fact that it is still within us to move on with some degree of mindfulness and hold on to our well being. While we are doing that, we also realize that all structures that we depended on have become extremely brittle. The breakdown of these structures lead to anxiety. There is no question of growth in a linear direction anymore. Nobody can say that we will move forward in this manner and this manner alone, because everything that we think about is changed within the next couple of months, not even a couple of years anymore. And in this era, in order to say that I am going to hold on to this policy and ensure that my children move forward and they know how to tackle the future, will be a very, very foolhardy comment to make. So the one thing that we talk about at all times is how, as teachers, we hold on to our well-being and we pass on this message to our learners that the future is going to be uncertain. It was uncertain for me. We did not have AI anywhere on the horizon. We still had an uncertain future. For our learners, it is, I think, 1,000 times more difficult to comprehend. And that is the message, I think, in the whole school. The more we find that there is, and we are living in this VUCA world, and we are living in this unreliable future where everything will change, the more we go back to being human. I think that is what makes this whole journey perfect in schools, because schools are the most humane places. In the middle of all this, we will find out our cash projects and we will focus our energy towards it. In the middle of all this, we'll figure out, okay, if we can't control what we are doing now, we'll go out and help the community, and our children will come back thinking that, okay, there is still a lot of value in doing stuff for others and not just worrying about our own future. Those conversations with our teachers, with our children, and our parents are the ones that are most valuable. And I think that will prepare us for the world that we live in. I don't think there is anything more to that. There is going to be change, and that has been the truth from day one of human civilization, I think.
Thank you, ma'am. The well-being is the most important thing. And even if I stretch my hands, I'm supporting somebody in the well-being. That makes it bearable of the uncertain future that we have for all of
We
us.
do find
Thank
that
you.
community service is the rock that holds us. Even the naughtiest of children who are very interested in doing something or the other to disrupt the classroom, when they go out to clean the beaches, for example, they come back with so much of reflection that we feel grounded once more in our own humanity.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, ma'am. I enjoyed being a CAS coordinator in my previous organization, and it is a privilege to see how students change or transform into somebody that they were not before that experience. And thank you. And I would like to invite the next panelist on that context. How would you prepare your students to face the future that is uncertain? Ms. Vandana?
A lot of, I would say, thoughtful and intentional intervention comes into picture. So when we are working with them on these modules, we are trying to establish this understanding that we can collaborate with AI. When you're trying to work on something, collaborate with AI, take its assistance, and then analyze if that work is really of a certain quality. We're also helping them to understand how AI actually works. So once they understand that it's nothing but a large, chunk of data that's been fed into it, and if you feed wrong data, it will give you a certain kind of skewed result. Now they are not trusting it blindly. And that shift is interesting for us, even though it's at a very surface level. But the moment they understand, oh, if I feed in, some kind of a biased perspective or data or information, it will give me a very different kind of a result, which means I cannot 100% rely on what I'm getting from GPT. And that's, I would say that's more of an educator's mindset that our teachers are trying to work towards, that shape them, make them more informed, rather than, putting down guidelines or turning into agreements and all those things. They have to understand how it works, and then they can make better decisions. We're also trying to educate them around how it creates an addictive pattern. Our counselors are on board. They are helping children understand the how the physiological changes that we experience when we get things done, and when the technology and all the media that's around, which is very quick, and how I feel satisfied and how I want to go more towards it, and it's suggesting certain modifications, and I find it easy. So how is it making me addictive to usage is an interesting exploration and an understanding that we're trying to develop in our learners at this age and stage. Also evaluating the results that you get from AI. So we keep, we and it's more of a challenge that they get into pairs and they have to analyze the work that comes from AI and proofread in the sense critically analyze, because it's perfect in terms of language and structure and everything. It's perfect, but does it have what the teacher had asked for? Does it contain all the examples or the research that you have done yourself? If it lacks all of that, then it's not a very substantiated outcome that we get. So just trying to help them see that it's not 100% solution that you're getting through AI. It's an assistant. Do not let it become a master. You have to be more capable. And how do we develop? That's a larger, I think, path that we are taking right now with our learners in primary school. So thank you.
Lovely, Ms. Vandana. Thank you. To sum it up, and that leads straight into my next question. To have AI as a thinking partner, as a collaborative assistant, not to make it addictive, and also evaluate the results that a generative AI can give. Now, as leaders, I'm going to ask you this. What is the one ecosystem shift that you are intending to do to your teachers? None of this move. All we spoke about the well being, the community projects being grounded, professional development, exploring safe spaces, and understanding human values, building the digital policies, and the governance coming in. This cannot move the needle unless and until we empower the teachers. How are you elevating your teacher confidence and capacity to integrate technology and AI? Share one PD move that made a tangible difference. I'm making it very specific. Share one professional development move that you did in your school that made the tangible difference. Now, I would like to invite Miss Stephanie to begin the discussion on this ecosystem shift.
Yeah, so it started with the research groups that I was talking about earlier, with some of my early innovators working with and trialing things in the classroom and showing that they worked. But then what I did as an entire shift was, and as I say, everybody was expected to research in some way, shape, or form, and then I paired them together. And one thing what has been very, very valuable is, apart from the policies and in terms of safety, all our teaching and learning has come bottom up, not top down. And that has been to enable us teachers to feel in control of the pace and in control of their own practice as well. We've never said you have to use AI or you don't have to use AI, but that was a game changer when I put them together as partners, and I tried to make it complementary as well, with people who got on with each other. So I was able to leverage the skills that had been developed in the building, which meant it was quick, and that was really rather than it something taking maybe a year long, it took 3 months, because it was partner this person, you've mastered this skill, partner this person, you've mastered this skill, and move on.
Wow, absolutely. That's a great strategy. I hope that we can take that and build that practice. I would like to invite Miss Divya to share what's the one PD move that made a tangible difference.
Okay, I've got two quick things. One, from the head of a school perspective, I think we also rethought our financials, because well, we do all of what Stephanie spoke about research groups and all of that. But sometimes I think some part of the PD also perhaps requires investment that we have not thought through. So that was something that we thought through. A second thing was also developing a prompt library. A lot of teachers are using a lot of prompts, and we thought it was good to create one space where they could share their prompts and also share, we created a sort of resource bank that made this accessible, because often I had teachers who would run to their unit heads, or would run to me to say that, hey, you know what, I did this. So let's make it more visible. Let's make the practice visible by creating a resource bank. That was the second thing.
Thank you, ma'am. So this makes we can also extend to borrow the prompt libraries and look at how we can also adapt in our schools.
Sure.
On this note, I would invite Miss Shija to share one PD move that made a difference.
Thank you, Lakshmi, and thank you for the speakers who just touched upon building capacity for our teachers. And we are actually building capacity for our teachers for unknown, which is definitely daunting and even a little intimidating at times. So when I think of PD, it's not just acquiring new skills. Like I said before, it's about cultivating a mindset, resilience, and then, of course, coming up with some adaptive strategies that would allow them not just survive when needed. So one of the things that we have adapted, and we call it as sorry. Is that okay? All right.
Yeah.
All right. So one of the thing, like I was saying, one of the thing that we have adapted is just-in-time learning. We recognize that teachers are at different stages in their tech journey. And when we provide them a huge amount of resources, it's like trying to drink from a fire hose, right? They can't process so much of information. So what is important is instead of overwhelming the teachers with too much of information and resources, we provide them resources and support just when it is required, precisely accessible, absolutely when they need them. So that creates a sense of calmness among the teachers, that they are not accessing too much of information at one point in time. Just on that note, what we have also done, and as leaders, I think I'm sure everyone must have done this bit in their school, is just to create a culture of experimentation and collaboration, because what we believe is the only way to make sense out of this change is to plunge into, move into, enjoy the dance, right? So just to encourage the teachers to experiment all the new tools in the safe environment is what is needed, right?
Thank you, Ms. Sita, on that. On this note, I'm going to bring a guest who's also an Apple professional learning specialist, who is going to share how she makes a difference in her school community and beyond by supporting these training bit-sized modules on a day-to-day practice. Having someone like her in-house is a luxury, but we provide that training through Datalogics. So, Ms. Vandana, over to you.
Thank you, Ms. Lakshmi. Is everyone able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes, Ms. Vandana.
Thank you. Once again, I'm Vandana Dayanand. I work as an EdTech specialist at Stonehill International School, and I'm also an Apple Professional Learning Specialist and an Apple Distinguished Educator. I think when we talk about tools, every school invests in technology. I think because everyone wants to do their best. But the most challenging part is, how are we achieving this in a more meaningful and a sustainable integration? How are we going to do that? So the difference isn't devices, it's the difference in vision, in professional learning, and how we design these experiences. Today, I would like to share how I share my story on how I do this in my school. At the heart of this work, I work on these 4 principles, 4 guiding words, which helps me to design my work. One is coaching. Coaching doesn't really we don't see the impact when you do 6 months once PD sessions, or yearly once PD sessions, and teacher often forget what was the app was, what is she talking about, or things like that. So coaching happens on a regular basis. It could be a macro PD, it could be a micro PD. So I make sure that I competize the teachers into who needs coaching, and I coach them based on the requirement, and I design these PDs seeing what is actually required for my team. And coaching builds teacher capacity. I think we all know that it strengthens our instructional practices, and it sort of create the consistency across the school. One of the culture which is very, very important is basically we want teachers to be very confident and adopt to new pedagogies. Another one is inspire. I think inspire is because new practices sometimes makes them very curious and capable and motivated as well, right? So, and also design, because integration is not just about adding tools. You have tools, right? While I'm talking, we have a number of tools which is getting designed, right? So it's just not about exactly seeing what tool and understanding what the learning objective is. So we have often teachers coming and saying, okay, this is my learning objective. What can I do with it? So sometimes I help them with the tool, and there are teachers, some of them who are well versed with the interface and they would use it right away, while there are some of them who are reluctant, and that's where I help them. Sometimes I visit their classrooms, sometimes I lead the session and they watch me how I do it, and follow-up session would be done by them. Another one is transformation, where our goal is not just digital proficiency. I think it is important for us to be a future ready learners, right? And transformation happens when the technology and the pedagogy and the culture, everything aligns together. And that helps us, our students to be digital, where you're creating content and not just consuming content. Another one would be is digital literacy. I would call it as an ecosystem, because digital literacy as a subject standalone wouldn't really work. I feel digital literacy is all about making it as an ecosystem. One of them is students, and they are the center. I think we all work around students, like they are the heart of our school. So we want to make sure that the digital literacy goes when students are just creators, and whether they are taking photos or they are designing prototypes or they're making videos or prompt AI, we need to make sure that they are the crux of what the school is all about. And the next one is the culture. I think I've seen the leaders talking about it. The culture is very, very important, where the teachers feel safe trying new approaches, where mistakes are part of learning, and where creativity is celebrated. One of the culture we have in our school is building capacity, where we also empower other teachers. We have a huge edtech community where we have around 25 teachers. So even we empower them to conduct small little sessions in their department. That sort of builds capacity and make sure that every PD session we also have tech integrated in the technology, and not just 6 months once or yearly ones at all. And of course, teachers, my favorites, they are the drivers of digital literacy. Where teachers are confident and curious, tools come later. Teachers have to be confident in how they're using a particular app, because tools come in, and if they don't know how to use it, it's just going to lie in one corner. So I think tools come last, and that's the reason I have put the tools last, because these are the most important aspects of digital literacy as an ecosystem. And I want to share two anecdotes here in my school. How this was a recent lesson plan, where I want to share how language is never limiting. I had this student. We had sharing the planet as a unit, and biomimicry was one of our unit. And I took all the students out, and they took their iPads, and we went out, and I asked them to take pictures on what inspires them, because biomimicry is all about where humans design objects based on nature. So I asked them to take pictures and asked them to design something which is inspired by nature, and they all went outside and they clicked some pictures and they came in. And I had the student who would like to share this. For privacy reasons, I have just covered his face. But you can see that on the right hand side, you see there are pictures he has taken, and he added one that's a banana leaf. If you notice, he does not know to speak English at all. I've helped him write the English one, but he has written that in Hebrew. And he kept looking at me, I kept looking at him, and he said, 1 minute. And he opened Translate app. He said, I want to make a rug with this banana leaf pattern. And he wrote that in the Translate app really quick. And I was shocked, and I never thought. I have eaten on a banana leaf. I love banana leaf, and I never thought of creating a rug in that pattern. And all this happened without just language took a back seat. The language barrier took a back seat, and the creativity came in, and that was it. And then we started working on it, and then he designed a prototype on the pattern, and that's what he was doing last week. This is one, and another one is teaching AI through play. I think we all can talk about AI. We can talk about it hours. But in a primary for less than 10-year-old, how would you make them understand? How would you make them understand that we need to be safe? And what is AI? So I made them into an activity where I showed them these images, and I made them understand. They were learning about narrative writing, of course. And I made them understand that you need to understand it consumes data. Everything AI works under data. So I made them act like little AIs. And I gave them these pictures and said, this picture is narrative writing. Are you AI? Is AI listening? Are you watching? And they kept saying, okay, yes, I'm AI, I'm understanding. Then I gave them another picture. And then, what do you think this is? And then they said, oh, this might be science fiction. And I kept telling them that this is science fiction because it has different elements. And this is narrative writing. Kept giving them around 10 to 15 images. And I told them, okay, AIs, are you ready? Now I'm going to give you another prompt. Will you recognize if it is an AI, if it's fantasy or if it is science fiction? And I gave them a tricky image, and I gave them this picture, and I asked them, okay, I want you guys to think whether this is science fiction or if it's fantasy. And I had the class divided into two, and some of them said it's science fiction, while some of them said it's fantasy. Then I made them understand that AI can go wrong. Right now, I told you what is science fiction, but you could go wrong. And that's the way I taught them that AI can go wrong as well. So now AI, let me tell you, this is a science fiction because you have robotic legs. So now AI took that information, and next time when I send a similar picture, AI is going to be very smart. So I made them understand that how data is consumed. We need to give the data to AI. And I also made them understand that how we can't share our name, we can't share our address, where we live, we can't use any other AI app. It has to be approved from school. These are the things I talk, and even every teacher talks to our students. We are building that awareness around AI. And recently I was talking to another child and said, okay, for prompting, maybe you can say Ahan and you. He said, no, I cannot write my real name to AI. He said, I'm like, okay, somewhere what I'm doing really helps. So this is some of the anecdotes of what we did. And this is my role. And I also train beyond classroom and beyond campus. And I had the privilege as an Apple professional learning specialist to train across India. And I think whatever AI, whatever comes in, meaningful change begins with people. You need to build in the capacity. You need to appreciate teachers. And when leaders talk the language, the digital language, and automatically the culture of the school also changes. So that's my story, everyone. Thank you so much. I had the privilege of being with you all. And I wish I had leaders like you all in my earlier days. Probably I would have grown faster. But it was brilliant to see that you all were talking the language, what we are talking, which is fantastic. Knowing every other app, I could hear you all talking about, and I can see that I'm sure you guys are going to take the school into another level.
Thank you, Ms. Vandana, on that. That is her role, and that is not only her role. And I also have a colleague in this call who is Mr. Daniel. He is also lead APLS for the country. And our primary job is to support teachers and leaders in driving this tech integration. And we just don't do it independently. We go it through Datalogics as well. Danny, if you can just wave, and he's been summarizing the chat so quietly behind these screens. And we are all supportive in helping each other and also helping other schools. And just to connect the dots for everyone. So when we talk about Datalogics, what do they do differently? They are an Apple Premium partner. They are also eligible to give the CPD points that we talk about, the continuous professional development, where teachers get a certificate of attending the training and also using that in their practice. We also don't provide one-off workshop sessions. We provide continuous PD pathways where we explain that this is the journey it's going to look like. We also empower educators through Apple Classrooms. That's another whole topic that we can come to your school and give you the demo, where teachers have an upper hand to see what the students are seeing on their devices. It is much more than a behavior tactic. We also implement schoolwork to get microgranular data and instructional insight and translate that into an impactful story to the leaders to understand where the impact is happening with technology. Is it really the ground reality, or is it something we are talking in the leadership room? This puts me into a spot to thank Ms. Vandana and Mr. Danny and taking to the closure of the conversation. PD is not just an event, it is a culture. Now, on this note, what is the one step that you would take in the next 30 to 60 days to align tech practices in your school? And what is that one suggestion that you would want to or like to offer to another panelist who is here? Or you can also borrow something from the other panelist.
Perhaps I would
Yes,
just
ma'am.
like to say there is a lot to borrow, so much of learning in this panel today, a huge amount to borrow, and I think I will look at everything that has been suggested. The one thing that I think really works very well for us is this whole system of creating professional learning communities and our teachers. We have master trainers among our teachers in the JBCN system. The master trainers, along with their cohorts, really bring about a lot of change in our mindset as we move along. The one area that has really helped us is applying all this learning towards generating data driven stories for individual learners. The whole idea of generating huge amounts of data and then using AI to make sense of it so that we can create individual narratives which will help every child. So that's what we are working with, and I think it will help our children.
Thank you, Ms. Devika. Yes, data-driven stories. We are also very proficient in building that story and communicating to the leadership. And any practice that we implement, it is necessary to see whether it is giving the ROIs that we expect. Next panelist, we have so many. Can we have Mr. Anup sharing?
Okay, thank you very much for giving this opportunity, first of all. And thank you again for making me the first or second to talk about after the ladies over here. So I would say that one thing, everyone over here is a leader in different, organizations, and everybody is practicing collaboratively. I know some of the people over here where I've connected through LinkedIn, never spoken, never had interacted. So really great to interact and see face to face, and hear the voices also. And what I can correlate, because some of them are really just like IBN's workshop leaders and all those things. So what I can correlate and what I can consider is that we need to be very two things. I would say we need to make sure that the policies are in line, so that the things are going around. Many new things are coming up, so we need to be upskilled, enhanced. All those things should be there. And the second thing, which I mentioned at the first part, is like basically trying, and I think so some of the leaders also mentioned over here, is trying to have that mindset, well-being, trying to be supportive with that. There are so many things which we need to learn and understand as the time goes on. So that's the two things, and I'm really thankful for everyone for contributing and enhancing this session.
I think Lakshmi's having a connection problem. I'm Danny, and happy to take this conversation forward. I'm just going to look at the list and possibly call out a name so it doesn't feel while everyone's just waiting. I have Deepa Bhushan in order on my chat list. So Deepa, if you wouldn't mind going next.
Thank you, Danny, for that. So thank you, everyone. I think I have a lot to take back today, and on how we're going to integrate. I just wanted to, I think, with everyone being so overwhelmed with so much AI around and so much change, I just like that, just-in-time learning space, to ensure that people have access to the resources that they need whenever they require them, and not, have to think about it later. There's already so much that's there in their brains. So I think that's beautiful. One of the things that we do is, so to lead a space related to AI and technology, and this happened during the COVID times, is we didn't have the, senior teachers always leading. So where AI and technology is concerned, we've had the younger teachers come forward and lead that pathway, because the Gen Z and all the Gen Zs, X, Y, whatever Gen Z are coming across, we're seeing that the younger generations are faster, quicker to use, and are taking, very naturally to the AI tools, and they understand and can support much better. So that is something that we're seeing. And, we're seeing that the senior teachers are also shedding their space of, that hat that you carry, that I know it all. You kind of need to unlearn and relearn, which is something that's happening for us. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
I'm going to absolutely wonderful takeaways. This has been a great community of learning. But one honest sort of something that I have to tell you is I always imagined that Apple education was more about replacing textbooks, getting the iPad into classrooms for quizzes and all of that. But today, because we were on this program, I spent some time exploring the Apple teacher and all that came with it. Not sufficiently enough, but then I realized that there is a whole of a lot of things that we don't know about it. So I think I'm going to begin to explore this more for my school. That's my biggest takeaway.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much. And yeah, that has been built by educators. And it also has got resources that we can adapt, we can also customize, and also use it for early adapters of technology. There are also success stories that talks about the impact of using tech and how the journey has moved forward. And those are key case studies and real case studies in different geographic context. But in India, right now, we have about 18 educational institutions which are Apple distinguished schools, and some are in the journey towards becoming. It's just a standard, but the tools are driving the decisions. No. The learning drives the decision of the tools, at least with trainers who are educators who speak the same language. And thank you for bringing that into the
I
context.
think that shift is so crucial from looking at it as a cosmetic or a superficial element that pitches your school differently to looking at it as enhancing learning with a few examples that she shared about going outside. So I mean, there's a lot more that we can do, and thank you for this.
Absolutely, Ms. Divya. Thank you. And thanks, Danny. Even before I think of you, that you would put the link, it is already there. And that's for all the panelists to take it and then explore it. And have we finished all these? Can we move to the yes, Ms. Sija? Or
Yeah, thank you so much. And I think I'm just absolutely glad that our discussion could offer both validation to our existing thoughts and also spark a lot of new ideas. So one of the crucial step I think would be in terms of evolving landscape of artificial intelligence is to just champion the ethical AI deployment. I think many of us spoke about how we can do it with embedding principles of transparency and accountability and embedding it into the policies of our school. I think that is something great as a takeaway. And I would like to just thank the entire team and especially Vandana for bringing in some examples that could really, inspire us from different perspectives. So thank you so much, everybody. It was a pleasure.
thank you, Ms. Sija. And Miss Dr. Sandeepa, if I have got your credentials. Sorry.
Thank you so much, everyone. It has been such an insightful 1.5 hour hearing everyone talk about how they implement AI in their schools and how the human connection is still so much, at the core of everything what we do. I'm going to definitely take this discussion in my next senior management meeting and talk about what we could do to implement some of the the practices that the schools are doing around here. It has been a wonderful conversation, and it's going to take a while to actually process it and get my team on board as well with this conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Sandeepa. Miss Stephanie?
Hi, thank you, everybody. Great conversation tonight and such a lot to take away. Probably I'll be thinking about it tomorrow morning and go, oh yeah, and that happened too. Oh yeah, and that. Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I've been pondering, and I think this has cemented my thinking on it, is that I tend to see the implementation of AI as a triangle, with pedagogy at the top, AI to one side, and also collaborative learning with other students at the other nexus. And I think this is where, I'm going to use that simple model going forward, because I think this is how we keep the contact between pedagogy, people, and the soft skills, so-called soft skills, plus the AI, and we see them as an entire ecosystem. And I think that's where, what I'm going to continue to work on.
Thank you, Miss Stephanie. Yes, that triangle I am also planning to take away, and I would do the intentional embedding in my teaching practices. And Miss Vandana, we moved from S to V now.
Yes, thank you so much, Datalogics, for having us all here on one panel. I think there was so much to just pick up in terms of nuggets from today's conversations. There are a couple of things. I mean, my paper is filled with short notes there, but if I just triangulate everything, I'm looking at one big picture emerging is the policies. I think we haven't, as a school, moved yet towards the formulation or even the conversations around if we need to have a policy around AI. So I think that's one step we would like to begin conversations on. I enjoyed Vandana's presentation where she talked about how children can pretend as AI and how teachers then help them understand, and that's where we are as a school, where we are helping children understand how it works, so just that whole aspect of making it more childlike and student centered is what my heart is connecting to. So thank you so much for everything that everybody has shared.
Thank you, Miss Vandana. Deepa Bhushan contributing to the last segment.
I did share my point.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
On this overshooting of 15 minutes of your time, I'm going to conclude the conversation. And before I conclude, I would like to invite Danny to say something as an APLS. Sorry, Danny, I'm putting you on the spot.
No problem at all. Well, thank you everyone for these very insightful comments. I'll tell you one thing that we didn't do on this call is we did not enable the closed captions, which AI does for us automatically. So while we are having this discussion, I said, okay, you know what, let's quickly type out everything and maybe send this out. Maybe this will jog more ideas, but perhaps if we had a younger generation person on this call, they might have done that.
Danny, you're embarrassing all of us with age.
Daddy, we are all young.
We are all young at heart and young at mind and young at everything that we're doing. Absolutely, yes. I had to just introduce those bits there. But also, thank you everyone so very much for your time and this sharing. I think in a way we've already kind of formed a community, and I think this engagement and this learning and this sharing has to go forward. So thank you everyone for your time. I'm happy to curate everything that we put in chat and send it out perhaps on our WhatsApp group. Hopefully get those some bits to do. Um, Perhaps we also might want, I'll leave you with this one thought. I always like to think of, okay, so what am I going to do today or over the week? What am I going to do or achieve in 1 month? And what are some things that I feel I need to achieve in 3 months or 6 months? And perhaps that is something actionable that we can also add to things that we got to do. I'll stop there. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Lakshmi. Thank you, Vandana, for
Thanks,
sharing
Danny.
Datalogics.
So a formal thank you for your depth, honest, and clarity that you brought into your conversation today. This was not just reflective, but it was directional. The conversation now would continue in your school, in your team, at your exploration desk with Danny's thought of next 1 day, next 5 days, next 5 weeks. Even one meaningful shift in your ecosystem is definitely going to move the needle. And we, as partners of APLS and Datalogics, we are here to help you test boldly, refine quickly, and let learning drive the decisions. If there is one big move that you want to explore, whether it's a pilot classroom, a device trial, or a professional learning development plan, or an entire ecosystem shift, we are there to provide the customized support to your school. And let's continue this conversation over a coffee or a tea at your institution. Looking forward to building the next few steps here. Thank you for your meaningful and energizing connect today. Thank you, everyone. It was lovely moderating the session. See you all.